The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
TV party tonight. TV party tonight. We're firing up the TV party pots tonight. All right. Screens light up, brains shut down. Talking trash about the best shows in town. No homework, no disguise. Just hot takes on the studio line. Sit down, lock in, hit play, let the noise begin. Lock in another episode, another spin. No ratings, no mercy, no skipping the commercials of culture. TV party tonight. TV party tonight. Same screen, same fight, same damn podcast tonight. All right.
Have I talked to you about that since I put it up? And you, and I love the fact that I did it and didn't warn you either.
No, you didn't, because I think it was a show with Jesse. I clicked that, and then I was just after it ran through, I was just like, "Well, that was new."
Yep. Why send you a memo when I can just surprise you? So, are you into surf punk at all?
Not against it.
Okay.
I don't. I think I've got like one or two technically surf punk songs on my Spotify, but it's not a genre that I actively go after.
Yeah, I like it, but you know, it's not like I have like a bunch of surf punk on my Spotify. It's funny. I think I did that, and again, I was going for Black Flag, and Suno.ai will zig when you want to zig. It happened with a different song recently too. I did a thing with Jake Roberts' Hall of Fame speech, and I turned it into a song based on all the people who died by the Jim Carroll band, because this is the way my brain works.
I love that
And it
song.
was yeah, all the people who died. So I changed it to All My Friends Are Dead, which is something that Jake Roberts said in his Hall of Fame speech. And I was like, okay, I want this to be kind of like the Jim Carroll band. And it was like, right, the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. No.
Ollie, I think we missed a memo.
That's what I mean. Suno zigs when you think it's gonna zag. It turned out good, and I think this turned out good as well. What'd you think of it?
I still want to redesign the logo, but I've learned not to fight you about AI music. So let
Yeah,
me redesign the logo, and we'll call it good.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I'll
Okay.
I'll put the theme song over a new logo if you send me one. That I whipped that out in like seconds because I needed something. I
Yeah.
didn't want the guys with the multiple legs and fingers anymore.
Okay. Yeah, that actually is a good point. And
Which
I
is,
know
by the
that
way,
my
you have been promising me a TV party logo since I did that.
I know I've been busy, and I'm sorry.
I don't understand. It's not like you don't have a lot of stuff going on in your life or anything.
No, of course not. I just have to focus on the stuff that actually pays to keep my lights on.
So what are we doing tonight, Toots?
Let's start that over. Hello, and welcome to TV Party Tonight. I'm your host, Alexis Hejna, and joining me, he is definitely the Waldorf to my Statler, Mr. Mark Radulich.
Oh, ho, 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 ho.
Yeah, get the tomatoes ready.
Every time I see this, I guess it's like a Keenan and not Keenan and Kel. It's I can't remember which sketch comedy show this was, but it's got Keenan from Keenan and Kel,
Keenan
and
Thompson,
then
yeah, he's on Saturday Night Live now.
yeah, and then the actor that you like that's in everything that was part of Key
Keegan
and
Michael
Peele.
Key.
Yeah, there's a sketch that they do where they're dealing with Waldorf and Statler at the Muppet Show, and they're told specifically don't heckle, and they get the shit beat out of them. It's hysterical.
That would
And
be
I
hilarious.
see that clip constantly on TikTok, and I laugh every time.
See, I always laugh because I remember the episode where where Kermit actually encourages Waldorf and Statler to put on a number. It's like, well, come on, if we never do anything you like, what would you do? And they do it's like, what is it? It's a what do you got? A burlesque show. But then you kind of Fozzie's in the balcony going, boo, boo, send in the bear.
How old would Waldorf and Statler have to be at the birth of the Muppet Show, which is the mid to late 70s, they've got to be 60 or 70 years old, which means they're born in what, the 1900s?
Oh,
Like
easily.
1900, 1905,
Oh
1910, somewhere
yeah.
in there.
Oh yeah, during the Steve Martin episode when we have the auditions, they
Hmm.
do an audition and yeah, they're wearing Dixieland, the striped jackets
Uh,
and the straw hats. So
yeah,
yeah, the vaudeville style. So yeah, they are definitely from the turn of the century.
which means like if you ask them what kind of, the big band, they,
Mhm.
like big brass orchestras, big marching bands, that kind of thing, because that was the music that was popular, or jazz, one of the two.
Mhm.
I see Waldorf and Statler as being secret jazz fans. Like, Waldorf sneaks off on his wife and his beard, because those two got to be gay for each other.
Well,
And
you did see you do know there was an episode where they show Waldorf. Okay, I get them mixed up which one is Waldorf or which one's Statler, but
hmm
yeah, the other one of them, his wife says he brings in his wife, and it's the other one in drag.
right, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I vaguely remember this. Like, I picture him like sneaking off to a juke joint. You know what I mean? All right, now that I'm doing slash fiction with the Muppets.
pretty much. You know, it already exists.
Yes.
You know, there are just some poor soul has written just volume after volume of erotic Waldorf Statler fanfic
You know,
about that.
somebody confirmed that Bert and Ernie are actually gay on Sesame Street.
Oh, I don't care if they're gay, if they're not gay, whatever. They're awesome characters, and they still make me laugh. I've always loved
Yeah,
Bert and
I wasn't
Ernie.
complaining. I just like
Yeah.
fun facts you learned about the Muppets. We have to stop the rise of homosexuality, which is everywhere and unstoppable. Anyway,
Okay.
you want to talk about this iteration of the Muppets?
Yes, because I have said this on many shows and I say it again. The world runs better when we have the Muppets. I swear there is a correlation that when you have Muppet movies in theaters or you've got some version of a Muppet Show on TV, the world is better. So I like to think that having the Muppets come back is a sign that finally the world is, getting back to the proper reality. I always joke that it's because of David Bowie's death that, he was our weirdness antenna, our anchor being, if you want to quote Deadpool and Wolverine. Although someone said it's because that one rat or weasel got into the Hadron Collider and apparently died, and that's what shot us into the wrong reality. I don't care. But I like to think that having the Muppets come back means things are finally going back to the way they are. Because, yes, we are here to talk about the Muppet Show, the revival that aired on February 4th. This is essentially looking to be a backdoor pilot to a full revival of the Muppet Show series. It aired simultaneously on Disney Plus and on ABC, brought to us by the good people at the Muppet Studio, Point Grey Pictures, 20th Century Television, and Disney branded television, and starring among all of our favorite little characters made of fleece. We've got Sabrina Carpenter, Seth Rogen, who is also executive producer, and Maya Rudolph.
There's a very pretty young lady on TikTok who's been talking incessantly about the Muppets since this came out, and she did a whole thing on a show that David and I reviewed, and then one I had to watch twice for that reason, because I watched it when it first came out, then I watched it again to review with him, and that was the Muppets, which was the ABC show that was them. They had updated it to where they were doing a talk show instead of a variety show.
Oh, this was the Office parody
Yeah.
style. Yeah, I tried watching that and it felt kind of soulless. It's like
Oh, I don't. Oh, hang on. I'll give you your say, madam, but you got to understand, part of the reason why David and I did that review was because I gushed about it. I fucking love that iteration of the Muppets. I thought it was great. I was sad that went off the air. And the point that the young lady makes on her TikTok is such an old man. This nice lady is that it didn't really get a chance. People didn't know what to do with it, but it was their best attempt ever at updating the Muppets for a modern audience, which is an interesting clash with this one, because this is taking us, because, well, the Muppets come from vaudeville,
Mhm.
and variety shows and whatnot. which has no cultural flag right now. No one knows what that is. So
Very
they know
true.
the Muppets, and they know that there was a Muppet Show where they did skits, and the best in other and the only cultural hook that a Gen Z or a Gen Alpha is going to have to the Muppets at this point would be sketch shows, whether it's SNL or Keenan and Kel or the one where, oh damn it,
There
the
was all
Canadian one.
that was also on Nickelodeon. That was
Yeah,
where Kenan Thompson originally got his start.
right. What's the one I'm thinking of with the guys from Canada? A bunch of them went on to become famous.
Kids in the Hall.
Thank you, Kids in the Hall. I couldn't think of it.
Like, you better know that. I had to explain that show to your kids when we reviewed Lilo and Stitch.
Yes.
Because I had to explain to them, why is it so funny that Pleakley is in a dress? Well, kids, let me explain to you about how there was a time when the voice actor for the original animated film was on a show,
Right.
and he often had to wear a dress.
So that's as close as anyone's going to get to understanding why the Muppets do sketches.
Mhm.
But I thought that the Muppets, and I'll shut up and let you host your own show after this. I thought that the ABC, the Muppet Show, did a better job of making the Muppets relatable to modern audiences, and it's a shame that people didn't really get it. And they, gosh, if you go back to the early Muppet Show and how cheeky the humor was, and keep that level of cheekiness, just transport it to modern times, the Muppets that version of the Muppets becomes entirely understandable. But I don't think anyone was making that logic leap, So my thoughts on the Muppets.
Well, I did grow up on the Muppets. I was one of those kids that would watch the Muppet Show when it reran on Nickelodeon. I didn't recognize like half of the celebrity cast because I was too young and I didn't know who like any of them were. Although I do credit the show for actually introducing me to quite a lot of talent. That shows my introduction to Harry Belafonte. It was my introduction to Paul Williams, Rita Moreno. Oh my God, what was the Linda Ronstadt? I was like, what the hell was the name of that? Yeah, that was yeah. I didn't know who any of these people were till I saw them on the Muppet Show.
Yep, I'm born in '76. I grew up with the Muppet Show when it was airing, and I watched the Muppet Caper when the Great Muppet Caper was the 1st Muppet movie I watched, followed by the Muppets Take Manhattan, which led to Muppet Babies. And despite my age at the time that the Muppet Babies came out, I loved that show. I thought it was great. Their iteration of Star Wars is one of my favorites.
Okay.
And then I had to go back and watch the Muppet movie.
Muppet Babies Star Wars was my introduction to Star Wars.
Was it really?
Yeah, we all had to start somewhere, and Lord knows.
Yes, I started with Star Wars.
I was a little kid. I hadn't watched the Star Wars movies yet.
Oh. Okay.
All right. No, I am part of the group that is demanding Disney get your lawyers to freaking finally get all the clips from the Muppet Babies cleared so we can put the show on Disney Plus. It has taken you assholes long enough. Get it done.
I had a Muppets lunchbox because having a lunchbox of your favorite thing was a very 80s thing to have.
Oh, of course. Oh, I did too.
So I had the metal Muppets Show lunchbox, and then I think I also had a die-cast metal Muppet Babies one with the thermos and everything else. I want to say, like, I've watched most of the Muppet stuff. You and I have reviewed quite a number of Muppet things on the show.
That's why I reached out to you. It's like we reviewed the Electric Mayhem show.
Yeah, we reviewed Muppets Mayhem. We reviewed Muppets Now.
The Muppets Haunted Mansion special you and I did. So it's saw them like, Mark, I think we need to go talk about more Muppet stuff.
So, long story short, big fan of the Muppets. I haven't watched the later Muppet movies. Like, I did not much Muppet Treasure Island. I finally watched Muppet Christmas Carol Island because all you nerds were like, it's the best version of A Christmas Carol there is. And I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And it ended up being really good.
It is good, but my favorite version of A Christmas Carol is Mickey's Christmas Carol. That's my go-to around the season.
Without question. But we're talking about Muppets here.
No, Muppet Treasure Island is brilliant. I love it. The opening number, Shiver My Timbers, is a really underrated villain song. And Tim Curry as Long John Silver, this will always remain one of his. I mean, okay.
Before
hard to say what.
the Jason Segel Muppet movies, were there any other ones?
Yeah, there was I watched that Muppet, the Muppets Most Wanted. There's been a ton of direct to streaming or direct to video Muppet movies that have come out in more recent years. There was a Muppet Wizard of Oz.
Oh, I vaguely remember that.
But yeah, love that. Muppets in Space, that was a lot of fun. Again, it's the goofiness of it. I mean, that's the one that has Hulk Hogan pick up Rizzo the Rat and throw him into a scientific lab where he's being experimented on by David Arquette.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I still remember watching Muppets Most Wanted, and my husband comes in, and again, I've mentioned this all the time, but if you don't watch them, my husband's from Romania. He did not grow up with the Muppets. And he is watching parts of this with me, and it's got all the cameos, the endless cameos, and he's just like, "Why are all these?" I'm like, "You don't get it. Being asked to cameo on the Muppets is one of the single greatest honors an actor can get."
Yep. That was a big time get. Like, like if your agent got you on the Muppets, you were a legitimate star.
Yeah. So many of the actors that we saw in the original Muppet shows always talked about how it was one of their career-defining moments, how they had so much fun to it. So many of them, it remains one of the biggest points of their career. Again, bringing back Harry Belafonte, the song that he did with the African masks is to this day one of the biggest highlights of his career, to the point that they played that song at Jim Henson's funeral.
The thing that gets misunderstood about the Muppets is the thing that gets misunderstood about a lot of stuff that was made in the 70s and 80s. You kind of had to make it family friendly because it had to air on national television.
Mm-hmm.
If you were going to get on ABC, NBC, or CBS, you couldn't make it too blue. Like, the stuff that, like, when Pryor was on, like the stuff that's more adult, like they rode the line at times, but for the most part, you had to keep it at a certain place, or it wasn't going to get past the censors. So the Muppet Show was an adult show. It was meant for adults.
Mm-hmm.
It passes for kids, one, because it's puppets, but also because they had to make it family friendly. It was prime time. They couldn't afford to be, Miss Piggy couldn't tell Kermit to go fuck himself. He just couldn't. If Richard Pryor couldn't do it, she can't do it. But it survived for as long as, a lot of stuff ends up becoming for kids because it was for everybody, and then because kids liked it, they made iterations of it for kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the big story of the Muppets. There is it always was very cheeky, and it rode that line between it's for everybody, but it's kind of meant for adults, but kids can enjoy it too, and then it's. And then I think for a while everyone forgets that this is supposed to be for adults, and it only becomes for kids. And the whole product gets watered down, and it goes into the basement for a while.
It's kind of like Dr. Seuss. He originally wrote his most of his stuff for all ages, but then all of a sudden it's like Dr. Seuss for little kids. And it's like, yeah, okay, sure, why not?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we've got a revival of the Muppet Show with Sabrina Carpenter as our special guest. Again, Seth Rogen, who does cameo in this, is our exec producer, and we got Maya Rudolph sitting in the theater. This does play almost exactly like a classic episode. We have Sabrina kicking things off with a performance of Man-Child in a rowdy bar run by Sam Eagle. We have Gonzo attempting a deadly roller skating obstacle course while reciting the names of every Academy Award winner for Best Supporting Actress.
That half of it, the roller skates going backwards was Wile E. Coyote and
Yeah.
Gonzo. Him doing the names of like a very specific category of Oscar nominations or winners, that genuinely made me laugh.
Tilda Swinton, Jamie Lee Curtis, Lupita Nyong'o, just running by this.
I love a good running gag because they did it throughout the show where
Mhm.
they had already set up the joke. So if you were second screen viewing this and weren't paying attention, him yelling an actress's name as he flies by the screen makes no sense. But it was good stuff. I laughed hard at that.
I did too. Gonzo has always been my favorite Muppet, always made me laugh the hardest. Not to mention, he's one of the few Muppets where the original performer is still alive, still kicking, and not retired.
Mhm.
So he is, what's the David Goels. I forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but yeah, he's been doing Gonzo since day one. So, there is still a real charm to that, and I absolutely love that. We've got a Pigs and Wigs ballroom sketch, very Bridgerton, with Miss Piggy juggling romantic suitors, to which Pepe the Prawn shows up and basically says, "Hey, I didn't even read the script. They just shoved me in a jacket and shoved me on the stage."
Mm-hmm.
We have Rizzo and the Rats performing Blinding Lights, to which I know you probably took a sigh of relief, said, "Oh, thank God I don't have to watch The Weekend," because I know you're still recovering from that movie he did with Lily Rose Depp.
Oh, the fucking the show, you mean, The Idol?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have the Muppet Labs, Dr. Buns and Honeydew with Beaker, which the shot of Beaker's eyes repeatedly popping out of his face are going to haunt my nightmares. That was real. It was just like, holy crap. Okay, I need alcohol now.
I was mildly amused by that.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love Muppet Labs. I always have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry, Dr. Butts and Honeydew and Beaker will always be classic.
I tell you, every time Kermit was on screen, all I could think about was the Family Guy joke of, "This is how we get wrong sounding Muppets." I'm not. I don't. Whether the Muppets comes or goes, I genuinely don't care. But I'm here. I watched it. I'm giving it a fair review. I'm talking about it with you as positively as I can. I don't care if the Muppets comes back or not, and I'll talk about that on my TikTok. I will say this: Kermit's voice is not the reason I don't want the Muppets to come back. Like, there are people who actively don't want the Muppets to come back because they don't like the voice on Kermit. It's too different. And I'm sorry, I have watched way too much media in my lifetime and heard different voices doing different characters to fucking care. First of all, as Alexis will do now in an hour and a half bit about Kevin Conroy as Batman. You want to know how many other you want to know how many cartoon voices of Batman I've heard? A lot. So and they all don't sound the same. So so Kermit's voice is audibly off, and it was at first it was a bit jarring, and I got over it fast enough. Everybody else sounds more or less okay. I don't know if they have any original cast back to do voices, but if anyone's even alive, I hadn't looked that closely. But for the most part, everyone sounded okay.
Okay, so Matt Vogel is doing Kermit the Frog. He's been the voice of Kermit since 2017.
Mhm.
And obviously, Frank Oz has retired from voicing the Muppets. So we have Eric Jacobson doing Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, Animal, and Sam Eagle now. We also have, okay, hang on a second. I want to make. I can't. Okay, so this was something I brought up before the show. We also have a new voice actor because up until last week, Rizzo the Rat was retired. The character or the puppeteer who played Rizzo the Rat, among others, was removed from Jim Henson Productions. Short version, he was Me Too'd. And at the time, Jim Henson Productions announced that they had decided to retire the characters. It was a simple case of, we could find a new voice actor for this, but we're just going to retire the characters. And this is actually why for a lot of Muppet specials, you had Gonzo no longer teamed up with Rizzo the Rat. You had him teamed up with Pepe the Prawn.
Mm-hmm.
So they announced right before the show aired, actually just like I think a week before, that they had decided to unretire Rizzo the Rat. They had found a new puppeteer to play him, and that's one who takes over for the Blinding Light. Or yeah, that's the name of the song, Blinding Lights. I almost said Weekend Lights. I'm like, nope, that's not it. So, and I know that Jim Henson as Kermit always brought just the great. There is an unmistakable charm to Jim Henson doing the original performances because Kermit was Jim Henson.
Jim Henson as Kermit's voice singing the Rainbow Connection still brings a tear to my eye.
Me too. And a lot of the others, I can hear a little bit of a difference. I will admit I was okay with it until the Islands and the Stream performance between Kermit and Sabrina. Something about that song, or the way that Matt Vogel sang that song, really sounded like the least amount like Kermit. And I can't explain it. But again, I know that it will. I don't think we will ever find someone who sounds enough like Jim Henson to make us say, okay, now Kermit sounds perfect. And in a way, I don't want to. I don't want someone to, you know, make that go away. I think that Kermit's perfection will be with Jim Henson always, and I think that we just have to deal with that.
Yeah, I like I said, of all the reasons I have, and I have a few, of let's not bring the Muppets back, let's not bring the Muppet Show back. The voices is not my problem with it. So tune in to my TikTok to hear an old fat guy complain about the Muppets. Marketing.
So,
All right, so ask me some questions. Tell me, ask I want you to want to know what I think of this here show, without me just interrupting you constantly.
all right. Well, again, we have discussed the Muppets repeatedly on various shows, so I'm not going to ask how did you grow up with the Muppets? Because Lord knows, I think there's at least 5
We
different
also
episodes.
covered that already.
Yeah, that we talked about that. So I guess my question, okay, well, here's a fun question for you. As someone who grew up with the original Muppet Show, what Muppet sketches, if this does become a backdoor pilot and it continues, what classic sketches do you want to see continue? Like, again, we got the Muppet Labs. Would you want to see Pigs in Space?
Well, definitely keep Muppet Labs. So Pigs in Space was mocking like Star Trek and stuff like that, which Star Trek has cultural cachet, but in a very negative way. I think, like, if you're gonna bring back the Muppets, then let it be a commentary on present day culture as it once was. So I would like to something I would like to see it made fun of. Make fun of Mr. Beast. Do like like get out of the studio and kind of like pipe in, like, and here we have, and the Muppets did because we want to keep up with current day culture, we did our own streaming game show, and it's just random ass monsters out there. Like, fuck it, let's tear that apart. Let's make fun of Mr. Beast and that whole stupid show. I would like, I don't know. What other wildly popular things can the Muppets make fun of? Like, what are that's the thing is, Pigs in Space they did a lot. Muppet Labs they did a lot, but I don't remember them doing a lot of repeated sketches. What I remember them is a lot of song and dance numbers.
Well, for example, we have the Pigs in Wig sketch for this, which was clearly a jab at Bridgerton.
I would, yeah, like if you wanted, for personal reasons, if you want to keep knocking on Downton Abbey and like that British drama type stuff, I would say that's fine. That also has a. Actually, I thought of a really funny one. Since we have all of this romance novels now that are doubling as women wanting to have sex with doors and monsters and coffee cups and shit, like, you have monsters. Like, why not do like a monster shows up at a women's like reading group, and the monster's like, what the fuck? I feel sexualized. Something along those lines.
Okay, well, here's another question.
Yeah.
Well, I slowly choked.
What I don't want to see them doing is 50-year-old sketches. Like, that was funny back then because then it had cultural relevance. People knew what it was. I don't fucking care. Like, do modern stuff. That's my answer to you.
I get that, but I don't want them to date it too much. For example, when
That's what they did date it. That's the point.
Well,
All
I'm
the stuff in the
saying
70s is
obvious. I'm saying like more obvious parodies. For example, on Sesame Street, they will parody what shows are popular. I remember Sesame Street did a Game of Thrones episode or parody where they called it Game of Chairs, where it was a case of let's play a game of musical chairs to see who gets to rule over the kingdom, which was freaking hilarious. They recently did a Knives Out parody with Beignet Blanc. You may remember Robert and I brought that up when we reviewed Wake Up Dead Man. And that's cute and it's really funny, but I want that to stay on Sesame Street. I don't want that to be more of, I don't want that specific esoteric of a parody on Muppet Show.
I get what you're saying. I really do, and I'm not fighting you too much. Find a happy medium then between where you are and where I am, to where I don't want to see anachronistic stuff that no one's going to get. Like, everything I think about, not my kids specifically, the old shows that I've created, but like the average fucking Gen Z or Gen Alpha has to be able to watch this thing and identify it with it somehow beyond it's the Muppets.
Hmm.
Because right now it's like millennials that are, running with this flag. And anyone younger than a millennial doesn't really get the Muppets. So you have to talk to them in the language that they understand.
Well, that's also why we have modern music. We have Sabrina Carpenter singing one of her songs. We have
Mhm.
Rizzo the Rat singing a song from The Weekend, and
I
that
think
I'm okay
I
with.
want to get the biggest fucking grossest trash rapper on the Muppets. And all he does is mumble, "What am I doing here?" Like they can't like I want him to feel completely out of place. That would be funny to me.
Here's another question. This revival tried something different with actually focusing on the audience, including having Maya Rudolph
Mhm.
obliviously commentating and then getting one of Beaker's eyes stuck down her throat, and then Maya Rudolph is dead. I'm okay. Correction, Maya Rudolph is alive. What do you think about them including some celebrity cameos in the audience? Something like
Fine.
what then?
Yeah, I think it optimizes or it makes another area of the show feel alive, and gives an opportunity for more guest stars to be on there. Like SNL has more than one guest star at times. They have their main host, they have a musical act, but they'll have like an old SNL head come back, or they'll have somebody else walk on there. I think the really funny sketch of Dave Chappelle watching the election returns in 2016, and Chris Rock walked in.
I remember that.
Yeah, stuff like that's great. I want to see stuff like that.
Or, for example, in a recent SNL, Finn Wolfhard got to host SNL, and they did bring in a couple of other cast members from Stranger Things for some,
I'll
obvious
see
jokes.
your Stranger Things one and raise you when The Rock hosted the SNL, and he was joined by Triple H, Mankind, and Paul White. Haha.
Very good. So yeah, I'm okay with that, and it was just interesting because again, if you watch the original Muppet Show, they may have occasionally cut to the audience, but it was
Mhm.
always just a million puppets sitting
Yeah.
in the auditorium. They never actually listened to the commentary from the audience, except for Waldorf and Statler, obviously.
Hmm.
Side note: thank God they brought them back. The show does not exist without those two heckling.
They at some point then they have to bring on was it Michael Key? For Key and Peele, the guy that I was talking about before.
Keegan Michael Key.
Thank you, Keegan Michael. It's too many names. I want him to come back and acknowledge that sketch, so to have Waldorf and Statler have fucking PTSD. Like, oh no, not again.
How
That'd be
about an
great.
episode where Waldorf and Statler have to go in and get colonoscopy? So you have Keegan Michael Key and Jordan Peele up in the balcony, and they have to play the critics for the night. I think that would be brilliant.
Sure.
And actually, that segues nicely into one of the things that I've got here for our discussion. On Facebook, I went to a couple of different geek boards and I put out this question. I said, okay, guys, if this is going to be a backdoor pilot, if this does get approved, and at this point, if it doesn't, I'm going to just be beyond shocked
Hmm.
because the numbers and the approval for this have been through the roof. Everyone has loved it. But if it does take off, whether they just keep it on Disney Plus or they start airing it on ABC, whether it's weekly or every other week or monthly, I don't know. But what celebrities do you want to see come on and host the show? And
Kid
Lord
Rock.
Almighty. Yeah, okay. So we're just going to ignore that.
How about have Kid Rock and Bad Bunny at the same time? That would be great.
Kid
No.
Rock is the same age as Ricky Martin.
Do you know I'm taking
sweet
my kids?
Jesus.
Do you know that I'm taking my kids to go see Kid Rock for my birthday? It's part of my big weekend 50th birthday celebration. I'm going to take my kids to see Kid Rock on a Saturday, and I'm taking Erica to go see Black Rose on a Sunday. Ba with dang a dang diggy diggy.
And yet people were complaining about not having a halftime show where we could understand the lyrics.
Drop the boogie. Ba dang a dang.
We are not discussing current politics.
Nope, no, we're not. I'm allowed to like stuff. Yes, I
know
am.
you're not. Yeah. Yeah. I also know when you're trying to trigger me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I'm here for.
All right. But no, so I got so many responses from people, and it's freaking hilarious how many of them just listed out the entire cast of a show. It's just like, I would this, and this. I'm like, okay, so you just want to cross over with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Got it. Duly noted. That Supernatural, multiple doctors from Doctor Who, just, oh my God, so many responses like that. But I did count out a handful of the ones that got the most repeated votes, and I've got our top 10 answers right here.
Okay.
All right. Number 10, Bryan Cranston.
Are we ever going to get over fucking Breaking Bad?
No.
Okay. Next one.
For the record, I am over Breaking Bad, but I know that the fans will never get over it.
Oh my God. There's other shows out there like The Wire.
Mark it off on your bingo cards. All right. Number 9, Samuel L. Jackson.
He's 100.
He's
People,
insa-
can we please speak to the children? Gen
Okay.
Z, Gen Alpha.
All right. Then next one, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Anybody under the age of 40?
Next, Lady Gaga.
You know, when she came out at the Super Bowl, I honestly thought it was a half melted Madonna. How about Katy Perry? Is she under 40? Does she meet my criteria?
She didn't get a single nomination on either
I don't
any
give
of
a
my
fuck about
board.
your list. I'm thinking about the children here. I swear to God, this is exactly my problem. Is that everybody who's interested in the Muppets is 100 and only wants stuff they remember. I hate my generation. There's a song by Cracker. That's the name of the song. That's my theme song.
Probably not a good time to tell you that one of the boards that I got the most votes on is literally called Nerds Over 40. I made him face palm!
What's next on this list there, Toots?
Paul Rudd.
Again, 100. Only matters to people who were maybe millennials or older.
Well, you're going to hate who got number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Martin. Now,
I'll take Steve Martin if he brings on Selena Gomez and Martin.
And Martin Short.
Yeah,
now,
they all have to come as a package.
Only Muppets in the building.
Yes.
Now, I said I'll take Steve Martin. Either A, yes, he brings in Selena Gomez or Martin Short. Or
I have
B,
the perfect pitch for that, actually. They bring all three of them on, and somebody murders a Muppet, and they have to solve the case of the dead Muppet before the end of the Muppet Show. Sketches and all. Like, sketches are being interrupted while Martin Short and Steve Martin and Selena Gomez are, like, looking for clues. Oh, that'd be perfect. And
Muppet at the end has to come back and say, oh, no, I wasn't dead. I was just taking a nap.
Or maybe Tina Fey did it.
I said, okay, either that or it has to be essentially a recreation of Steve Martin's original appearance on The Muppet Show.
What, with the arrow through the head?
Not just that. When Steve Martin appeared on The Muppet Show, they wrote it up that he had shown that there had been a scheduling error. And the night that he was supposed to perform, Kermit was actually auditioning new acts. So Steve comes out, literally, it's like, well, what am I doing here then if you don't have me? So in between, we have Steve Martin saying, well, I might as well audition then, and doing some of his acts. He was blowing up balloon animals, playing the banjo, just doing classic Steve Martin.
Wild and crazy guy.
I would love it if they don't do the only Muppets in the building thing, or even if they do, they bring in Steve Martin, and it's literally, and he's like, again, you scheduled me on the wrong night again. It's like it has to be one of the two things. That's the only way I will accept having Steve Martin on the show.
Sure.
Okay. Number 4, Patton Oswalt.
That's a slightly above 50% yes. One, I love Patton Oswalt.
Oh, who doesn't?
So he gets a pet. Robert. So he gets a pass from me.
Robert has no soul.
And he's never done it before. I actually think there's a handful of young people who, if they don't exactly know Patton Oswalt, they can at least appreciate his humor.
Mm-hmm.
Patton Oswalt has a kid, and so it's one of those deals where I could see Patton Oswalt truly enjoying the experience and being like, look, my kid who has no association with the Muppets, look what I get to do for her. And that would make me happy.
Definitely. I mean, you got to remember, Patton Oswalt did a voiceover or voiced a character on the last generation of My Little Pony, and actually got to bring in his daughter and his wife for the
Yeah.
last episode he
Like I
appeared in.
said, of the list of anyone on that list so far, Patton Oswalt has the best chance of being known by anyone in Gen Alpha or Gen Z.
All right, number 3, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Sure.
I think it could be good. You know,
Yeah, I mean, again, he's a better. If I have to get one of the fucking guys from Marvel, at least he's a better choice than Paul Goddamn Rudd.
actually, you know, I was kind of surprised how few Marvel actors showed up on the list.
Because everyone hates Marvel now, except for like you and Andrew Roscoe. Oh, and Andrew Graham, the two Andrews.
I was going to say, it's like, you don't talk to Andrew Roscoe. What do you? How do you know what he
There's
likes?
3 of you, the only people left on Earth who still like Marvel.
Okay, well, here's your, your Gen Z bait. Number 2, Taylor Swift.
Is it? Is that Gen Z bait?
She's the youngest person on this list, okay?
Do Gen Z people actually like Taylor Swift?
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, then she's acceptable.
Gen Z and Gen Alpha love Taylor Swift.
Okay, yeah, then she's at the top of my list.
Well, you know who's at the top of this list who got the most votes? Do you want to take a guess?
Well, the way this list is going, I'm going to think Harrison Ford.
No.
Walter Matthau?
No. He's dead.
I know. Jack Lemmon?
Do you want to take a serious guess, or do you want me to
Vincent
just
Price.
tell you?
Vincent Price.
I wish he was still alive.
Michael Jackson? Janet Jackson? LaToya Jackson? Andrew Jackson? If you don't stop me, I'll keep doing this.
Weird Al Yankovic.
He's acceptable. Everyone knows Weird Al. Every generation knows Weird Al.
And Weird Al with the Muppets would be perfect.
Yeah, that would be a good get. I'd
Yeah.
watch that episode of the Muppets.
I would too. Let's bring in Weird Al with an entire orchestra of Muppets playing the accordion.
All right, so let's talk about this show. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about with this show in particular? Because I have a couple of comments. You ran through the list of sketches. Rizzo doing a musical number was fine. I laughed hard at Peppy being matched up with Miss Piggy because I've seen that look in Miss Piggy's eyes in Humans. This is who I'm double dating with you tonight. Ugh. This is what hit on me at the sex club. Things like that. I've seen the disappointment and frustration in Miss Piggy's eyes and other humans.
I did
when
laugh
Pepe
really
showed
hard
up.
when she goes around the column, and yeah, it's Pepe the prawn. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
credit. I did not see that coming. Good joke.
Yeah, and then they hand. It's probably one of the funnier sketches of the entire night because like her trying to get back to place and do her lines and everything. And she's like, "Oh, my lover, my house," and then she's like describing him. And she's just like, "And your red tufts of hair."
And then
was-
the two lovers end up just talking and bonding. And
Yeah.
when she tries to leave, her wig gets caught on the chandelier.
I was just like, wow, I've seen that happen to people. Like I have seen people be Miss Piggy in that sense. The Sabrina Carpenter thing was all right, I guess. Like I'm not a huge Sabrina Carpenter fan, so the song itself was okay. It feels like they didn't know what to do. Like, here's the thing. Everything the Sabrina Carpenter, like my favorite part of the show actually was the bit where she's talking to Kermit and Miss Piggy kicks in the door and it's on top of Kermit. And now Sabrina Carpenter and Miss Piggy are having a dick measuring contest. That's great. That was all good shit because occasionally Kermit made a noise underneath the door and they had to no sell it. So that whole interaction made me laugh. And clearly Sabrina Carpenter is game and can at least minimally act, funny. So
She actually got her start on I think it was a Disney show. I believe she is one of the manufactured tween stars that they, pumped
Sure.
out of the factory.
So that sketch showed me that she can do more than what they were letting her do. So I was a little frustrated that the song itself and the way that they framed the song was boring. Oh no, she fucking breaks, all 5 feet of Sabrina Carpenter breaks up a bar fight full of Muppets. All right, like this, it was the safest possible choice for a show back in its heyday was known for being not all that safe. I mean,
Well-
granted, before, like I said, there's only so far you can go on when you're on ABC, but
There's also only so far you can go with Sabrina Carpenter, whose outfits on stage are usually lingerie.
I should watch more of her show.
Yeah, you should. She's not bad, okay? She's not. I'm not a big pop fan.
I
She's
watch
not
a
my
lot of
preferred-
stuff on mute now, so it'll just be just fine. It'll be like this. It'll be like when I watch soccer or ladies tennis. I like it when your soul like starts to die while I'm actively talking to you. The stuff with Gonzo was funny. I guess the end of the show where Kermit sings and they all come out and join him as they're singing the song by Queen. That was nice. I was a bit surprised. I will tell you this, and it annoyed the piss. Did you freeze?
No.
Oh, okay. It
I was
annoyed
looking up I was looking up a picture of Sabrina Carpenter in costume to show you.
Cool. She looks hot. But
is hot.
I will tell you this. The show righted the ship fast enough, but within seconds I almost blew this off. I was like, I'm not doing it. And I'll tell you why. Within seconds, they were doing notes from the Rainbow Connection, a song that fucking was in the Muppet Caper, which came out after the Muppet Show.
It was in
And-
the Muppet movie.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the Muppet. I keep saying Muppet Caper. I meant the Muppet movie.
Mhm.
And I was like, come on, man. Do we have to keep going back to the Rainbow Connection? And I half fucking expected them to do it at the end because everything is nostalgia. And they didn't. They went with something else. They went with Queen. And I was like, all right, we're having a good time. Brave choice for a not brave company. So that's it. That's my thoughts on what I remember of that show. Like and Maya Rudolph mildly amused me making out with a Muppet.
And Fozzie trying to cut the executive producer, Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Which was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this. There were a lot of moments that really made me laugh, a lot of moments that really made me smile. We get to see so many of our favorite characters back. We could argue all the time about whether or not the voice acting was on par, but for what it was, I absolutely loved it. And I am hoping that this does serve as a backdoor pilot so we can get more of this, because I really do think that the world works better when we have the Muppets.
One last criticism, because what else would I do on a podcast with you? No Fozzie stand-up?
Well, that's the other thing, is that, again, this was a half-hour show. Like it was, they couldn't do everything that they wanted to.
Miss Piggy was all over this.
Of course, she was all over this. It's Miss Piggy.
Okay. There's nothing we couldn't give Fozzie 3 minutes. The show was that tight.
Fair enough. Okay. Again, there are a lot of classic sketches that could be brought back into future episodes. And among them, yeah, we need to have Fozzie doing some more stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
Gives Waldorf and Statler an excuse with the tomatoes. Just let them fly.
I think we need to. Do some Emmett Otter and have people dressed up as two ends of a horse, and they keep rotating out of sync. What?
Nothing.
I say bring back the full Emmett Otter Jug Band Christmas and have him joined by Jelly Roll. See, now we're talking. Jelly Roll performing with Emmett Otter's Jug Band. That's what I want to see. Or even better, and hear me out, Turning Point featuring Emmett Otter's Jug Band with guest star Kid Rock.
Are you trying to make us lose what few listeners we have left?
Barbecue da with the bar. You may continue. I'm just gonna make myself laugh.
Good, because I may need a minute. I hate
broke
you so
Alexis.
much.
Anyway, if you haven't seen Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, you're really missing out.
That and Dominic the Christmas Donkey is the Radulich family Christmas in a nutshell.
More or less.
All right. So hopefully this does get picked up. And if it does, we will be back with TV Party tonight to discuss it. I seriously doubt I'll be able to convince Mark to come back if this gets picked up. So I will be on the lookout for some more co-hosts. So hey, if you're interested, we have openings.
Okay, then. All right, hurry up. The Spurs versus the Lakers are starting in like 8 minutes.
Okay. Fine. If you haven't checked it out, the Muppet Show Revival is streaming on Disney Plus, along with the entire Muppet Show history, which I have actually been watching a bunch of my favorite episodes. Never get tired of the Alice Cooper episode, and I still watch the Star Wars episode on May the 4th every year. It is part of my tradition.
I vaguely remember R2D2 showing up at Sesame Street and falling in love with a garbage can. Hilarious. I also. Okay, you already did it.
Thank you, Zach. We love you.
Something else I was going to say.
Got derailed by the pun.
I really did.
Well done, Zach. Thank you.
Let's just continue, I guess. And I'll just blurt it out when I remember.
We'll be closing out the show. I'll be ready to hit the end or the button for the end music, and all of a sudden you're going to shout out, "I got it!" All right, but yeah, like I said, if you haven't grown up on the Muppets, if you haven't joined the Muppets, then what the hell are you doing here? Go watch the Muppets on Disney Plus. They're awesome. They're hilarious. They're a staple of Americana. They really are.
What's the name of the Muppet that does the explosions? He's always blowing shit up.
Oh my God. Zach, if you're still watching, let me know because I can't remember.
What if they dress that Muppet up in like robes and a turban? And the implication is that since that's the one who blows the like, oh God, he's converted to Islam and he's gonna like terrorize the Muppet Show, and he's not. But every time he walks into a room, like there's palpable tension. Zach in with the win. Crazy Harry. He converts to Islam and he's now known as Crazy Harry El Shiki.
If I hit any harder, you're paying for my doctor bills.
I will not. Come on, you know that's great material. There's a scene where Crazy Harry El Shiki is trying to convert Animal to Islam. No boom. You can end this anytime you want.
No, I can't.
Good stuff.
All right. Thank you for joining us tonight to discuss the Muppet Show on what will undoubtedly be my last time hosting TV Party tonight after all of you chased me out for torches and pitchforks for letting this shit happen. Okay. So, any more of those jokes, and I'm not going to send you any more pictures of Sabrina Carpenter and her lingerie get-ups.
I'm much more interested in watching the Lakers Spurs, so I'm going to be good.
All right. Why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you if they want to find you?
Well, I'm obviously at Mark Radulich on TikTok. Look by the end of the week. I will have my TikTok up on my thoughts on the Muppets. Be aware. Be very aware. Yesterday, myself and Robert Winfrey, we reviewed The Rip, The Wrecking Crew, and Roofman. Tomorrow, I will be on the Miguel Connor podcast. I don't know if there's another name for it, but I will be there talking all things Gen X and some things AI music. We've had a change in the schedule because Breakin' is not available on streaming, but Breakin' 2 is. But so instead, we're going to do a triple feature. We're sticking with the old rap movies, just changing which ones. So we're going to do Crush Groove, Beat Street, and Disorderlies. So that'll be fun. Saturday was delayed from a previous week. Myself and Evan doing comic book adjacent movies. These are movies that never had a comic book, but were somehow adjacent to them. Oblivion, Snowpiercer, and The Fountain, which I have to get in those before Valentine's Day. And then the Metal Hammer of Doom is back, and we're going to be talking, speaking of AI music, Fra Diavolo, Recipes for the Damned, which came out last August, and we're just getting around to talking about it now. And I can finally have an entire podcast dedicated to all of my AI music projects instead of hijacking an already existing podcast. Next week, we're talking Crime 101 on Monday. Tuesday, Alexis is hosting Fallout Season 2. Wednesday, I will be back with Jesse and Gavin, and we will be talking Sports Night Season 2. And then a week from Thursday, we will be continuing our look at Black cinema, the Book of Clarence, the American Society of Magical Negroes, and They Clone Tyrone. That's all for me. Thanks. I'm driving.
All right. Well, like Mark said, I will be back next week to host TV Party Tonight looking at Fallout Season 2 along with Andrew Orozco, Kat Scott, and Sean Comer. Hair is so dry in here. I keep choking on my own spit. And then I am off until March 2nd, in which I will be coming back in for Damn You Hollywood to discuss Scream 7. Because I missed my chance to get in on a handful of the horror movies this year. And it's like, damn it, I'm at least going to get in on Scream. So we're going to be looking at that. After which I will be back for Daniel Hollywood to discuss Hoppers because it's a Pixar film, so I'm being dragged in against my will. Week after that, we're going to be looking at The Bride, and the day after that, Robert Winfrey is joining me to look at another horror movie, Undertone, which is getting some amazing early word of mouth. So, looking forward to that, and now on to the plugs that pay me. The Honeysuckle Hustle, never going to let you forget it. You're the one who let the AI write it.
You keep it up, you're going to get another song. And as my children say, no, I don't want to be in a song.
Your children are wise. Honeysuckle Rose Creations, we're at the intersection of geek and chic. We are currently working on restocking our sites. We just added a bunch of stuff to Etsy and Handmade at Amazon. Working on the Shopify store. Got a lot of items up there listing, just realizing I still need to go through and get all of the bank account clearances done so they can actually send me money when people start buying stuff from there, hopefully. So we are still in our off season for the convention scene. It's actually warming up here in Kansas City, but I don't like to travel in the winter, so we are holding off, but we will be back at the last weekend of March here in Kansas City for Planet Comic-Con. They have announced so many big celebrities that are going to be there. They just announced today Jeffrey Combs is coming, so horror fans out there rejoice. That's a big one. Looking forward to that. As always, again, we are on Etsy and Handmade at Amazon and Shopify, and you can always follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok. It's Honeysuckle Rose Creations, the intersection of geek and chic. So for myself, for Mr. Mark Radulich, I am so sorry you had to endure those last few minutes there. Thank you for joining us tonight.